Hello, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for joining the webinar today. I'm Oliver Central. I'm part of the product marketing team here at Preqin, and today I'm lucky to be joined by Amy Besant from our product development team. Today, we're going to help you get the most out of your new platform, Preqin Pro. We've built this platform based on our clients' feedback, and that's your feedback. And it's designed to make your workflow more intuitive. Just some logistics before we can get started, and if you don't mind answering the pop-up question that should have appeared on your screen while I run through it. Just a disclaimer, we'll be recording this session so that we can share it with you all afterwards. If you have any questions, you can submit them anytime through the questions tab on the webinar module on the right-hand side of the screen, and we'll answer as many as we have time for. And if we can't get to it, we'll make sure to get back to you individually that we can't get to today. So, in terms of the question, I asked you how many have logged into Preqin Pro before. And the results are mixed at about 80-20 at the moment.
Is that logged in?
That has used Preqin before. So we're at 82 to 18, which is great. So for those of you that haven't used it before, we'll give you some introductions in terms of the navigation and what you can do. And for the 82%, we'll be showing you the new features on Preqin Pro that's not available on the old interface of Preqin, and as well as some more advanced tips as well. We'll aim to cover the most common use cases to get you started. Mainly that's navigating the platform, conducting searches, viewing profiles, accessing market data and benchmarks, and customizing your notifications and platform experience. So with that, I'll pass you over to Amy, who'll take you through, firstly, the general navigation of Preqin. So let me just share the screen with you, Amy. And that should be up.
Excellent. Thank you for the introduction, Ollie, and thank you everyone for joining the webinar this afternoon. To the 18% that have never logged into Pro before, welcome to Pro. To the 82% that have logged in before, welcome back. What I'll be doing today, we'll be showing you through the new platform. As Ollie said, I'll be talking you through the general dashboard straight away. So, with no further ado, I'll show you how to customize the theme of the platform.
If we can just get the screen up and running, Amy, if we just go through the settings on the control panel on the right side. There you go.
There we go. First glitch of the afternoon. So that's the hard bit out of the way. Anyway, back to the live webinar. So as I said, this is the new Pro. Thank you to everyone that's logged in before, and for those of you that haven't, we'll be giving you some real tips today to get the most out of this new platform. The first thing I'd want to draw your attention to is the fact that you can really customize the whole experience. And that starts with the actual way that the platform looks and feels. Currently, we're on the dark theme. You can very, very quickly switch between this dark theme and a lighter theme through your custom settings, which sits here in My Preqin. All you do is hover over this menu item, look down the list of the various customizable areas of the site, and then you can just very quickly switch to light mode from there. I'm going to switch back to dark mode. As a Star Wars fan, I've always been a fan of the dark side, so that's what I'll be sitting on today. But as I said, at any point during your time when you're using Pro, you can switch between those two themes through the My Preqin area of the site. We're currently on the dashboard, and this is your home when you come to Preqin Pro. I'm going to show you through a few key things to think about when you first log into Preqin to help you get the most out of your experience on the platform. So when you first log in, you see this screen. It has a video on the screen, which you can then use to remind yourself how to get the most out of the platform. And then on the left-hand side of the platform screen, you can see a quick links to all of your customized content. I will come back to these later, but always remember, if you're looking for some lists or other customized content that you've put together before, please do come back to your dashboard and then have a look on this left-hand menu. The next part of this page I'd like to highlight is in the top bar, in the top navigation part of Pro. 3 key areas to think about here. The first is market data. This is your new home for all of your performance benchmarks, and all charts related to things like AUM and deals and performance. Filter data is the new Preqin Advanced Search. It's been completely redesigned and optimized, and again, I'll be walking you through that a little bit later into this webinar. And finally, within this magnifying glass icon, this is your new quick search. Again, we've completely redesigned and optimized this with you, the customer, in mind. I'll also be showing you how that works in a little bit. The final few things to think about when you're on our home screen are these areas at the top right-hand side of the screen. So within the quick links, you can get quick access to all of our research content, all of our reports under this area called Insights. And you can also as well get to our contribute data area of the product if you are indeed one of our many data contributors across the globe today. I'd also like to highlight the help area of the product. We appreciate there's a brand new platform and there's lots of things to get to grips with. This will be your friend if you're looking for immediate help. So you can get straight away to live chat with one of our customer support team. They're available 24 hours a day and 5 days a week. You can also get to more data support, email addresses and other forms through our data support area, which sits in this menu. And finally, an area I'd like to point you in the direction of is our tutorial center. Within this tutorial center, we have many tutorials and guides of how to use the features that we have built on the Pro platform, as well as other videos and other content to help you get the most out of your new platform. Have we got any questions at this point before I get to the search area of the product?
We have had one. What is the difference between a saved search and a target list?
Okay, so if you look at a target list, that keeps track of all the entities and alerts that you have set up. So it could be, for instance, that you've made a list of 10 investors that you're interested in. That all sits within the target list area of the product. What a saved search allows you to do is to choose all the filters that you like to run a search on, save that as a custom view, and then every time you come back to the platform, you can rerun that search. So if you're interested, say, in a universe of buyout funds of a certain size, anytime we add a new one to that list, if you come back and run that save search, that new fund will be appearing in that list.
Perfect. Well, that covers the general navigation and getting around Preqin, but I think now it's time to delve into searches, which is what people are predominantly doing on Preqin at the moment.
Yeah, so now what I'd like to help you get to the data that you're most interested in. I'll start with the quick search. The quick search is the way that you can get to information on named entities that you know about. So what I'm going to do is type a name into our quick search bar here. I've chosen a pretty generic name. And this is all based on a completely new search algorithm based on the relevancy of the results that are thrown up as a result of the search. Now, as you can see, the immediate result is pretty overwhelming. We've got about 3,500 results, but there's quick links throughout the various profiles we have to help you find those groups that you're interested in. So if you're looking for a specific investor, you can click on investors, for instance. Same across all of the other areas we track. Something completely new to Pro is the fact that you can now search for contacts on the product. So if you've met somebody out on the road and you're looking to see which firm they belong to or where you remember them from, you can do a quick search for that contact on our quick search bar and immediately find out that information. So that's the quick search. I'll just quickly show you then how you navigate into a profile. All you do is just quite simply click the link and that will take you straight through to that profile. I will be coming back here in a bit to show you exactly how to navigate around the profiles. But before I do that, I'll actually go onto filter data just to give you that second part of how you can find the information that is of interest to you. So filter data, as I said before, it's an advanced search for all of your data sets. We've completely redesigned it. Everything now is hosted in one search page, which is under filter data. You can search across the various different types of data that we have on the left-hand nav here. So you can see we have investors all the way through to service providers. when you start your filter data search, always start on the left-hand side. So make a decision on the type of data that you're looking for. So I'm going to look for investors today. And once you've made that decision, then you can see the real power of the newly enhanced advanced search we've put together. So whereas previously in our classic platform, you may have to run 3 or 4 different advanced searches based on what asset classes you have access to, all of those asset classes have been pulled into one place on our filter data. So you can now actually search for different asset classes at the same time. For instance, if you're looking for investors in private equity and you want to grow that universe to those in real estate as well, you can just select this on this left-hand menu, and that grows out that set of results. The final thing I'd like to point you to in this left-hand nav is, as you move towards the bottom of the page, this then gives you the options which you'd like to search by. So these do vary by the type of data that you're looking for. On the investor side, you can switch between the preferences that the various investors have, be it based on what they've told us they like versus what funds they've actually invested in. You can also switch to just those investors with open mandates. Here we've got about 11 or 1,200 of those or so, as well as those that are secondary sellers or buyers. I'm going to stick on the preferences for now, just to show you the power of the actual filter data, but that is something to be aware of, that you can toggle between those two, the different preferences and search results in the bottom left-hand nav. So once you've made your decisions on the left, you then move to the top of the search, move into the main search page. As you can see, these top filters, these are most commonly used criteria. These do vary based on the type of data you're looking for, but these are the ones that you, our clients, are using the most, and we want you to get access to those as quickly as you can. These work very simply. You just hit the drop down and you can see the options. For instance, I might want to look at just those investors who are interested in buyout on the private equity side and distressed on the real estate side. You can add in by type of investor. For instance, I'm just interested in endowment plans today. And those are the most commonly ones we see based on location, strategy, and type. But as you're aware from our old advanced search, we have many, many more filters than that. And you haven't lost those. In fact, you've actually got access to more. And you can get access to this greater range of filters through the More Filters icon on this top part of the search bar. This opens up a pop-up like so. From here, you can again add extra filters based on what you're after. I'm going to look for these endowments with, say, between 100 and $1 billion in AUM. Very simply, you just hit apply, and it will then apply those filters. And you can see all of those filters that I've just applied in this navigation bar here, which sits underneath the filters. And if you decide you want to get rid of one for whatever reason, perhaps I want to remove my real estate distressed strategy, you just click that X and that's removed, and the results will change on the basis of that. So that's the new filter on our new filter data area of the product. We've also built out a brand new and very powerful table of results. As you probably can recall, with the classic platform, you just had 3 or 4 columns available to you, and you couldn't change those columns. Through lots of customer feedback, we've understood that you guys want to be able to customize the look of this table of results for yourself, and you can do that through the Manage Columns area of this page. Very straightforward and very similar to the filters as well. You just click the button and then you can navigate to the different columns available based on the relative asset classes, or perhaps just based on a general overview. I'm currently just looking at a list of endowments who are in buyout funds, so I might want to know what they're doing in the next 12 months, because they might be investing in my fund, for instance. You can just quickly select all, apply, and what that does is that adds a lot of new columns on this big table of results, which all sits over here on the right, and you can scroll from there. And once you have this list of results, you can then export that to Excel as before. But we've redesigned our export capability, so now, rather than just downloading all of the Preqin pre-selected columns, you can just download or just export those columns that you've added into the table, or you can select all of the columns that are available to you as well. So it's much more flexible, and it's much more built around your day-to-day workflow and what you need to do on the Preqin platform. And the other thing you can do, similar to Classic, is add in all those contacts if you're looking to find more information about the key decision makers at each of these firms. The final thing I'd like to show you here on this, to do with this list of investors, is how you can flip between a list view and a map view. So quite simply, we have two options here, list or map. You just hit map, and it will show you the distribution of all of those investors globally that we have. I'm based in London, so I'm going to see where all these investors we have, or these endowments investing in buyout are, and it looks like on the map view, they're largely split somewhere between Oxbridge, either Oxford or Cambridge. I imagine it's one of those many colleges there are investing in private equity. But from the map view, you can very simply get straight back to that list that you created earlier by clicking list, and that takes you back to the results that you created. And now you've created your custom table of results with all of these various search criteria you've added. You can then save that search. So quite simply, you just click save, hit save, give it a name, let's call it endowments, save the search, and then you can revisit that whenever you want. As a good tip, if you have a particular set of columns that you like to use in your table, if you save that as a saved search, every time you go back and revisit that saved search, you can remove the filters and those columns will remain there as well. So it's quite good if you have a very specific set of columns that you like to have when you use these tables. And you can quite easily get back to that saved search from this part of the page, the bottom left-hand navigation. You can see it sits in here. These also exist on the dashboard as well. So, do we have any questions about this at all?
We did have a question from the room, but I think you went through it. Is there a way to download data after conducting a custom search? So after you've inputted all the filters,
yeah.
As opposed to just going through each profile and looking and validating it that way. So I think that was covered through the export function, which is in the top right of the table.
Exactly, yeah. So you can just straight away export that through the export function, and that will be customized to your criteria that you put in place.
Yep. And just one more question. If I leave a page with loads of filters applied and then come back, do I have to start again?
Absolutely not. So something we've built into this as well is if you do navigate away and then you come back to this page, all of your filters will remain sticky. And then all you need to do is remove them if you want to. But if you've decided you want to go back to that list, it will still be there when you revisit.
And that's within a session, right?
And that is within each session.
Okay. So that's great. Remember, if you have any more questions, please continue to send them through and we'll answer them as we go along. But let's take a look at some more profiles now, Amy.
Okay, I did promise I'd show you some profiles, so let's do that today. As I said, I am UK-based, so I'm going to go for a good old London-based fund of hedge fund manager called Pantheon to show you their profile. The reason I've chosen a fund of fund is because obviously they act as both an LP and a GP. And we have data which covers all of those various facets of Pantheon as an investor and as a manager. So you can get information on both of those activities through the profile, to the page we have. At this point, just choose which one you're interested in. So it could be you want to see them as an investor, if you're perhaps a fund manager who's looking to approach Pantheon for potential commitment. But if you're, say, an investor and you're looking at Pantheon as a potential investment opportunity, you can really simply quickly switch back to their fund manager profile and see information on their investment activities as a GP just through this switcher which sits in the top right-hand part of the page. The profiles have been completely redesigned, as you can see. All of the data now, all of the various asset classes sit within one page. That's a big change from the existing classic platform for Preqin. Particularly on the GP side, where these actually existed as separate profiles. These are all now linked together, so you can get a really strong overview of all of the activities of this LP, GP, or fund, in fact, based across all of the different asset classes that they're active in. And we're trying to make that as easy to digest as possible, and we've done that through this introduction of what we call a snapshot. As you can see here on the fund manager profile, it gives you an overview of the number of funds that they have in each asset class, how much money they have raised over the last 10 years, dry powder, and which strategies that they invest in. We have a very, very similar thing on the LP side. So again, we have a snapshot to help you digest what they're doing. It shows you which asset classes that they are actively investing in and what their target or current allocation is if it's available. So we really have changed the way that these profiles work. As you can see, though, we do cover an awful lot of different data sets across the entirety of Pantheon. And we're aware that that can be quite a lot for you to get through. So instead of making you have to scroll through pages and pages of data, this left-hand navigation is your friend to quickly jump to the areas that you're interested in. So say you really want to find out what they're doing in the private debt space, all you need to do is quickly click the private debt link over here on the left-hand side. That will jump you straight into the private debt part of the investor profile. And then you just need to scroll through and you can see the information, or again, just use the left-hand nav to quickly find that data that's of interest. Something else that we've introduced on the newly redesigned Pro profiles is the contact hub. So all of the contacts that would have been spread across several different profiles for Pantheon have now all been pulled into one area. We've tried to make this as clear as possible for you to understand what parts of the business they look after. So as you can see here, we've got an asset class signifier to let you know, for instance, that David is the guy to speak to about the infrastructure and natural resources investments. We're also trying to help you get to those contacts as quickly as possible that you need to speak to go about your core duties. So if you're heading over to London, for instance, on a road trip, you might want to find out who are the people you're going to speak to in London. The quick filters will allow you to do that. You can see there'll be Helen Steers and Andrea Ekberg over here, who will be the people to speak to from the London office. So again, that's a new feature we have on Pro, all of the contacts in one place to help you get the best assessment of who the correct people are to speak to when you're out and about on the road, but also when you're planning meetings in advance. Some other few features to be aware of on this page as well is that there is the existing print functionality has been enhanced, so you can now custom print. So if you're looking for just certain areas to print to PDF, you can select and deselect these via the custom print area. You can also add investors and fund managers straight to target lists. If you're on a fund portfolio profile as well, you can add that to a benchmark if there's performance data available. And as before, you can give quick feedback to our research team as well through the feedback button. So if you've noticed some data which you suspect could be improved, if the contact has moved, please do let us know through this feedback button. If you're looking for an update on a profile, just hit this button here. It will send an email to our research team, and we aim to get back to you within 24 hours on anything which comes through our feedback email address.
So I think we've got a couple of questions from the room. The first one is, on real estate, is there a way to see if the funds are open-ended, closed-ended, or semi-open-ended? I think I can take that one. Basically, within either an investor profile or a fund manager profile, there's a section about funds being managed. And within that, there is a status column that tells you whether it's closed, open, or semi-open-ended within that table. Alternatively, if you do the fund search on filter data, there's a quick filter there that lets you filter down to whichever one you're interested in. So that should answer that one. I'll reply to that. But the other question we have from the room is, what can I do if I see an error on the profile? We went through that in terms of feedback, right?
Yeah, so you can quickly give feedback in lots of ways. As I said, this icon, it will immediately pop up an email, which goes straight to our inbox. And then you can do the same through the give feedback up here. As I mentioned earlier in the tutorial today, data support is also a good center to go to. You can get quickly in touch with our client services team through data support, or you can get immediately on a chat to one of our client services representatives through live chat. So we're there 24/7 to help you with any data needs that you might have whilst you're navigating our profiles.
Great. So I think we're ready to move on from profiles into an interesting part for doing presentations and understanding the market, which is our market data section.
So all of the various bits of data and charts that you may have been getting from disparate areas on Classic are now all sitting within our market data area of the product. As I said, you get here from the top navigation, and it sits next to filter data. Within the market data area, it covers all of your private capital benchmarks that you see across, say, private equity, real estate, or other asset classes you had access to, information on fundraising, dry powder, and deals. As with filter data, always the first port of call is in your left-hand navigation. So I will be starting with showing you the new benchmarks, which are available to you as a Pro subscriber. This is a newly redesigned benchmark area. You can now compare benchmarks to each other or across asset classes through the various filters available to you. As before with the filters on the filter data or advanced search area, to drill down into more granular information, you just need to engage with these filters which sit at the top of the bar here. You can do things, for instance, like change the vintage year to 2015, just to get those. And you might want to look at a few strategies within that as well. So perhaps compare some various buyout funds of different sizes. You can also add PME indexes to this as well. And this is the rather long list of the various PMEs. You can again compare the benchmarks to the PME indices through this PME search at the top here. As before with filter data, you can add more columns to this table of results through managed columns, or indeed you can export it. You can also get through to see all of the underlying funds which make up the benchmark through clicking the constituent benchmark link here. What this does is shows you a list of all the funds that make up all of this benchmark, this 2015 benchmark that we created earlier. You can toggle between various information on these constituent funds, be it net multiple, etc. And it shows you the various quartile boundaries. And you can also click straight into these funds through that link here. Something else you can do from this page is create your own customized benchmark. If you look at this list and you decide that you want to tweak it a bit, perhaps to remove some outliers or to just select some of the funds that you're interested in, you can easily do that by engaging with this here and adding or removing funds, and then adding those funds to the benchmark. So when you hit remove funds, it comes up here with create a new benchmark. I'll call this Amy benchmark because it's easily spelled. And you can add a quick description of what that means. Just hit create and add, and that is added. As I said before, anything which is customized to your needs, that all sits within your dashboard. So if you want to go back and find where this is, you can find it through the dashboard, but it also will sit here within the My Benchmarks part of the newly redesigned benchmarks area. And any custom benchmark that you created before you migrated over to the Pro platform, they'll all be here sitting within the custom benchmark area of the website.
Yeah, so let's move on then from benchmarks into other market data. So I think the next bit down is fundraising.
Yep, so I'll move on to the fundraising charts now. All of the charts that we had on the existing Classic platform have been completely redesigned around your needs and are completely dynamic. So if you're looking at this fundraising chart, very similar to what we've seen in other areas across Preqin Pro, you can customize it using filters which sit at the top of the chart. So you can add in, if you're looking specifically just for buyout, for instance, you can do that, or add in a specific geographic focus. Within charts, you can toggle between different views in the top right-hand side here. So it's currently by year. You might want to delve in by quarter. Something else you can do on the charts as well is if you click and hold, that will zoom you in to a specific time frame within that chart area. Once you've created the chart that you're interested in, you can then export that as an image or as a Excel download if you're looking specifically to export the underlying data. So within the chart area, as I said, it's all fully customizable. You can look at just the timeframes you're interested in, just the strategies or geographies you're interested in, and then you can export that for your presentations as you wish. On terms of funds in market, it's very much the same as before. You can toggle between different strategies or regions. You can look at other strategies. You can export it. It really all works the same way. And something I'd like to highlight here whilst I'm on this table is if you are interested in a certain data set that you can see in a chart, so it might be, for instance, you're interested in these 2,179 North American funds in market, you can have a quick link straight to all of those fund profiles from within the table. So all you do is just hit that, it opens up as a new page, and you jump straight back into the filter data area, which we ran through earlier, and you can see that full list of results there. The final, the penultimate part I'd like to show you is the dry powder and AUM area. So again, you go back to market data, you hit the area that you're looking for. What you do within this area is you build the chart from the bottom up. So if you're looking, say, to look for buyout funds, you just need to click that, and you can add as many lines to this as you so wish. But exactly the same as with any other charts, it's fully customizable. You can toggle between strategies and regions, and you can add various filters to it. This is newly available to customers who haven't had this access before. It used to just be available to a subset. Now this is available to everybody, even without a performance analyst subscription. So again, this is brand new functionality for a lot of you out there if you haven't had access to this data before. The final part I'll show you, and there are various other charts within here which you can toggle between. They are all very, very similar. So without wasting your time and showing you the same functionality again, I'd like to quickly show you the final area, which is the deals and transactions area in terms of the charts. What you can do into here, exactly the same as before, is add in various types of filters based on precisely what you're looking for. You can toggle between quarterly versus annually over the time frames, and you can also look at these deals data based on different criteria. So it could be you want to do some more analysis about the types of deals made over a certain time frame. Again, if you just click this deals breakdown at the top here, it comes up with a nice set of rather colourful pie charts to do that data. And similarly with the exits overview as well, that will do the same. So you could toggle between charts just using these three toggles, which sits at the top here within your deals area of the market data. And the charts are all completely interactive. So if you just want to remove part of it, that you can, or if you want to click through to the list, you can do that from there as well. So lots and lots of new functionality sitting within our market data part of the site. And again, it can be completely customized to what you need, and you can export that data and use it in any presentations or other materials that you're putting together.
Thanks, Amy. I think you answered a question that we had is, can I use Preqin's market charts in like our own presentations? And yeah, you can export them as long as you source Preqin.
Ever the marketing guy there, Ollie. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'd be more than happy for you to always use our charts. Just please do source us. If there's something more specific you're looking for that you might not be able to get through the market data area, please do reach out to our client services team or your account manager, and they or our research team will be more than happy to see if we can help get that more granular data that you might be after.
Perfect. So that pretty much covers the three main areas that we've seen at the top. We've been through the dashboard, market data, filter data, and quick search, so 4 areas. But I think the last thing we want to do before we end this webinar is look at the notifications and how we go about setting them out.
Yeah, of course. So as I said, and I've mentioned it a couple of times, is your dashboard is the home of all of your personalized content. So to get back to anything to do with target lists or notifications, just hit dashboard, start from the left as with everything on the newly redesigned site. Target lists are easily found straight away in the top here under the target list area. As you can see, I have absolutely hundreds set up. Any target list that you created before you were migrated to Pro, that will still be here. But then you can add alerts or notifications to that very, very quickly from this area as well. So if you just click Configure Notifications, these are currently off. This is one I created earlier. Just switch it to on, choose the asset classes that you're interested in, and whether you're interested in when that investor, in this case, is updated versus when we've added news about it. Just switch between the two, and you can also switch the frequency. So I'm going to give this to weekly, so I'm not overwhelmed with all the amount of updates coming through. Just hit apply, and now I can see that one that I just added has become active. You can also get access to your saved searches. Any saved search you've created before, just hit Save Search. You can get there straight away. As I mentioned earlier, that would take you through to that saved search that you created. So we created the endowments one earlier, fully populated all those filters and all of those columns that you added. You can also manage your saved searches within this area as well. So if you are no longer interested in it, you just delete it here, or you can then edit it through the edit icon as well. Investor news, a really popular part of our site. We've got all of the news across the various asset classes, and it all exists now in one feed here in the investor news dashboard. As before, it gives you an idea of whether we've gathered that exclusively versus other sources. And it shows you exactly what that news source is about. You can filter that news, as with other parts of the site, through these filter icons at the top right-hand side of the table. But you can also set up news alerts. So if you are specifically looking, you want to get an email anytime we add any of these headlines straight to your inbox, you can do that as well. So the way to do that, and I think I did that a bit quickly, so I'll show you again, hit News Alerts on the left, go to the Add Notification icon on the top right here, give your alert a name, so Amy Alert, and then you just, as used to on Classic, choose the asset classes you're interested in, the frequency. If you're interested in a specific type of news alert, perhaps you're looking just for those LPs that are making future plans, you can tag that here. Again, you can customize it based on the investor type or where they're based. And really simply, just hit Create Alert, and that's been created for you. And now from today onwards, I should be receiving some emails straight into my inbox anytime of our research team add any alerts of interest to me. The final alert I'd like to show you is the fundraising alerts. It works exactly the same way as the news alerts that I just showed you. So you just go to Add Notification up here, and this provides you with a live alert anytime that a new fund launches that you might be interested in. So this is really great if you're looking to do some, say, competitor analysis of funds in your area, or if you're an LP and you're looking for specific opportunities. So if you're looking to get into a fund early, you can get an email sent direct to your inbox anytime the Preqin team has found a new fund which has come to market.
Great. Let's see if there are any questions from the room about that section. Otherwise, one that's been sent privately is, can I get customized reports from Preqin? Or how would I request that if I can't find the information before? I think that's quite common from
Absolutely, and so we've got a large client services team here in London, in our Asia offices and out in the US, so we're able to respond to any request that comes through, big or large. When you're looking to get in touch with the team, I'd always recommend hitting the help icon up the top here. You can do that via live chat. That will get you almost face-to-face straight away with one of our client services team, but you can also do it through our data support area. So you can send a message which will come straight to us. Please give as much detail on what you're looking for from your custom report, and our kind of smart research team and client services guys will get back to you with that data you're looking for. So we can do that within 24 hours. So please do send us any custom reports that you need. We're always looking to help as much as we can with that.
Great. I think we've got time for one more question. What does QuickView do on filter data? Because I think we jumped over that when we went through.
Absolutely. So the QuickView is an area which sits on the bottom left-hand side here. And I say it's always important to look down this full menu here, because it gives you an idea of all of the different ways of searching through the data on filter data. As you're aware, on Classic, we had many different searches, an overwhelming number of searches. We tried to simplify that through this filter data area. And what Quick View does is it gives you instant access to many of those searches which existed on Classic. So, for instance, if you're looking for anything which is related to newly added information, you can see, just by clicking newly added, a list of the investors that we've added today. So it looks like our research team have been busy over the last couple of days adding some private equity investors. You can filter that by asset class based on what your subscription is. And you can do the same for fund managers and funds. So quick views are a really quick way to get to a lot of that data that you may have had before on Classic without having to click through many different asset classes and then scroll through hundreds of different menus. And this covers all of the functionality. So if you were a fan of the league tables, for instance, you want to know who the biggest investors were, again, you can do that here through the league table section.
And what happens when you jump into the view investors at the bottom? That populates the filter data, right?
So this all runs off of our new powerful filter data functionality. So if you just click the view button, what that does is it takes you back into filter data, but it's pre-populated this filter data list based on where you've cut that route. So that route via the league tables, this is already sorted largest to smallest in terms of AUM, so PE allocation, in fact. So it's a really quick way to get to a list which you might be interested in. And then once you're there, you can do all of the cool things you can do with filter data in general, which is add more filters, add more columns, export it, or add to a target list.
Great. Apologies for the questions that have just come in. I think we've sort of run out of time for them, but I'll get back to you in a separate email after this session. I'd like to thank you all for joining the webinar today, and thank you, Amy, for taking us through that. I really hope you've got a better idea now about the value that you can get from Preqin Pro and how it's different from the older version of Preqin that you used before, but much more simplified and easy to use. We're going to end the webinar there, but you'll see a short survey when we do close down the webinar, and we really love it if you could provide us with any feedback on what we should cover in the future for webinars or anything new that you'd like to see for Preqin, because as we said, we've organized Preqin Pro to be built around you and what your needs are. So if you could let us know at any time, jump on the call, email, anything, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for attending. Goodbye.